Hello everybody, my name is Mike Flirsch. I'm a math teacher here at Rosemont High School. Thank you for watching this video. I'm sorry it's a little long-winded, but I'm hoping you'll come away with it feeling like it was worth it and that you got something from it. Okay? Sorry for the script that I'll have in front of me. There's a lot of good points that I want to bring up, and I just didn't want to memorize it because I just didn't have time to do it. My goal is to, I'm going to keep it real for both parents and students, but my goal isn't to insult anybody, but rather help our students as they move through this distance learning and the struggles that they might be finding, and maybe for beyond high school for that matter. Okay, so as we've moved into distance learning, I found that a lot of kids are struggling. They've stopped doing their work. I feel bad because there are many students that just don't understand how to work with this type of learning. There's so much based on them. They have to have their own responsibility to take care of it themselves. They're stuck and they just don't know how to handle this new type of learning. I take surveys and often find my students saying they need to be back in school to see their friends, to see their teachers. I know, they actually feel like they need to see us. How important is that? But they need to be back to school. I get it. I got into teaching to make a difference for our young adults, and it's really hard for me when I can't see their face. I can't give them high fives. I can't welcome them into my classroom. I can't give them a listening ear when they need it. I can't hear them laugh at my dumb jokes. There is no doubt that my energy comes from my students in the classroom. Zoom, it's just not the same. It's like pulling teeth trying to get these kids to participate. And I don't know if they're laughing at my jokes at all. I can't even read their faces, get a glimpse into understanding if they understand what I'm teaching. I never realized how much as a teacher I scanned the room to see people's faces, to read their faces. Here's the other thing. I also find myself frustrated as a teacher because I try to reach out to some students, but I get no response. I'm working really hard to make sure that they don't regret some of the decisions that they make. I don't want them quitting. Now, I know that's not the case for everyone. Unfortunately, there are still some extenuating circumstances that some of our young adults are going through, and it's out of their control. There are also many students that are doing just fine, and some are actually thriving in distance learning. However, I find myself complaining about the whole thing because I sometimes feel like I care more about some students' education than they care about themselves, which isn't necessarily the case. The other day I was going for a walk just to get out of the house, get some fresh air, and I started thinking about all of this. And I decided I had two choices. I could keep complaining, which certainly doesn't help anyone, right? Or I could be part of the solution. Well, here we are. I chose to be part of the solution, and that's why I decided to make this video. I'm hoping this will give our students and parents a different look at things, and maybe even give them some tools and some direction. My goal with this video is to talk about growth versus a fixed mindset. We're going to talk about grit, and at the end I'm going to give you 17 good ideas as to what might help our kids. Please realize that I don't have all the answers. I don't want to pretend that I do, but maybe this will be a good start for everyone struggling, and even those that are doing just fine. Maybe you'll pick something out of this video. I'm an associate professor, an adjunct professor for St. Mary's University in their Masters of Education program. I teach teachers going for their Masters of Education. As part of the curriculum, we teach and we learn about mindsets. We believe it is key to understanding how our students learn. I want to share those concepts with you and those terms. First, I'm going to define growth mindset. A person with a growth mindset doesn't mind making mistakes. They want to learn from them. They're not afraid to step outside of their comfort zone. When they're stuck, they look for solutions. They don't mind challenging themselves. They're not afraid to ask for help. They enjoy watching others succeed. They welcome change. They put in the effort. They realize struggling is just a part of life, but how we handle those struggles makes us who we are. And yet, Y-E-T, yet, is a big part of their vocabulary. I don't understand this yet. I haven't written my paper yet. I will have a student that will come up to me and say, Mr. Flirsch, I don't understand this problem. And I'll say, you don't understand the problem yet. Let's sit down together and work through it. On the other hand, a fixed mindset. Fixed mindset is a person who is afraid to make mistakes or fail. When they hit a wall, they tend to quit. They don't want to challenge themselves because they're afraid of failure. They don't like to see others succeed for some reason. They don't ask for help. They quit at times because it's like the easiest option. And change, yikes, change is not good. Yet is not a part of their vocabulary. Yet. It is important to understand that fixed mindset is not a bad thing. Sometimes it keeps us from doing things that we would regret. It keeps us safe. A person can be a fixed mindset in the social world. They can have a growth mindset in the academia world, or vice versa. They can be a fixed mindset in their personal life and growth mindset at work or in sports, or vice versa. You can have a growth mindset one moment and 2 minutes later find that you have a fixed mindset. We all tend to bounce back and forth. No one is all growth mindset, and certainly no one is all fixed mindset. Both mindsets make up who we are and tend to balance us out. If you wanted to, you could Google growth and fixed mindset on the internet and find thousands of videos. Some of your parents, you've learned about growth and fixed mindset at your work because more and more jobs are looking at the same concept. As for grit, well, it's probably easier to define that first. Grit is defined as courage and resolve, strength of character. What? Basically, what are you going to do when you come to a roadblock? Do you quit, or do you find another way around it? Do you have the grit to keep fighting? Do you have the strength of character to not quit, not cheat, have some integrity, and keep pushing forward? Do you see a rough road as exactly that? It is rough, but it's still a road that will get you places, and it will eventually smooth out. I think it's important to have an understanding of these 3 terms. Once I learned about mindset, it changed who I was as a person, a husband, a father, and certainly as an educator. Many of our students are struggling and may have a fixed mindset when it comes to school right now. Many of the students have found out they have growth mindset. They may have struggled to begin with, but are starting to figure it out. I know because students have told me that exactly. They don't like distance learning, but they're finding ways to make it work. I've even had students tell me that they found out a lot about themselves, both good and bad. That's what I'm talking about. Those students might not understand that they're allowing growth mindset to take place. They understand that struggling is a part of life, and quitting certainly just wasn't an option. Watching this video will probably make sense to them and put things in perspective. Now, distance learning is tough on everyone. I get that. I'm no different. Parents are no different. Students, you are struggling. But so are your parents, your siblings, and we, your teachers. You have to understand that you're not the only one fighting through this, and you don't have to do it alone. I guess what I'm saying is that you too have a choice. Will distance learning give you an excuse to quit? Or will you find the grit deep down inside you to fight and take ownership of your education? Again, take ownership of your education. You have to understand that your teachers, administration, and most certainly your parents want you to succeed and believe that you can succeed. We push you and we get on your nerves because we love you and we want what is best for you. What does quitting give you? Regret later, and you'll find yourself struggling to even graduate. No one wants that for you. Can you turn that fixed mindset into a growth mindset and realize that struggling is a part of life? But it isn't going to define who you are. I mentioned earlier that some students are doing just fine with distance learning and some are thriving with it. However, I guarantee those people still find times where they're stuck in a fixed mindset and have to slap themselves out of it. Yeah, some of you have discovered that you do in fact have grit, and that discovery has helped guide you. Now, if you think you're the only one going through this and you're different than the rest of us, well, I got news for you. You're not alone. I, unfortunately, am going to tell you that you will have struggles throughout your life. Your parents can attest to this. It sounds like a cliche when we say this distance learning stuff is nothing compared to what you're going to face, your trials and tribulations in your future as an adult. You may end up looking back at these years and realize that you became a bit better person because of it. you discovered you were a stronger person than you thought was possible. I and your parents are no different than all of you. I have to fight through adversity when I was in high school, in sports, when I was in the military, in my teaching career, as a brother, as a husband, and as a father. Life is full of choices, and as I continue to get older, I realize that more and more. Sometimes there are consequences to my decisions, and sometimes things turn out better than I ever thought. However, they were my decisions, and therefore I have to take ownership for them. Let me give you two personal examples of what I'm talking about. First one. 5 years ago, my son was diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma, a bone cancer in his ribs. Prognosis was about 50% survival rate. It rocked mine and my family's world, as you can imagine. It's important to note that he's in remission now and he's doing great, and we certainly count our blessings. However, to say this changed my world is an understatement. Sean was to go through a full year of chemotherapy. My wife and I, we were required to be at the hospital the whole time he was going through treatment. I found myself having a fixed mindset about everything as it came crashing down on me. I wanted to quit teaching and simply be with my son and my family. My world was wrapped around them. Eventually, my wife and I decided actually to take a leave, that she would take a leave of absence from teaching. So we had someone be at home and take care of Sean when we were at home. Now, this was a financial burden, but we knew we didn't have a choice. I somehow was expected to go back to teaching like everything was normal. Take my share of nights sleeping in the hospital. Oh, and by the way, I had to make sure my daughter was about 3 years older. We wanted to make sure that she was getting the love and the attention she needed too. Now, I don't tell this story because I want your sympathy. Like I said, he's doing fantastic. He's a freshman in college and loving life. However, the reason I'm telling you this story is to show you that you will have struggles as you grow up. I had a choice. I could quit on my students and focus on my son, or find a way to make it work. I chose to make it work. You know what I discovered? I needed to be teaching. It helped give me a welcome reprieve from our hectic life. I found that while I was at school, I would forget about Sean and what he was going through. Then when I went to the hospital after school, I had the energy to keep pushing and being a good dad. This allowed my wife to then take a break, and between the two of us, we could tag team and take care of our daughter, who was a junior in high school at that time. In many ways, making the choice to keep fighting and teaching and giving my students my all, it helped me. It helped me keep things manageable. My students that year gave me hope. They showed me care and concern, and I will never forget the impact they made on my life. Out of all of this, I now have a different perspective on life, which in turn, I believe has helped me become a better father, husband, friend, and teacher. Going from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, as I look back, I would think it has made me, and I hope it has made me, a better person. Okay, second personal example. Now, let's bring it back to today. Distance learning is tough on everyone. Not what any of us teachers were prepared to do or trained for. Again, I found I had a choice. Basically, the same choice as you. I could quit and simply do the basics as a teacher, or I could find the grit to make the best of it. Well, I have made the conscious decision to find ways to make distance learning the best I can for everyone. I put effort into trying to come up with creative ways to teach lessons and get people to laugh, even at my expense. I have no idea if it helps my students, but I am not going to stop trying to make the best of the situation we're all in. We will eventually be back in the classroom, and that day will be sweeter than we could have ever imagined. Yep, you will actually be telling your friends that you are glad to be back at school, which is kind of ironic because as of a few years ago, you would be walking around saying, I hate school, and then you would complain about school, and now you're finding out how important it actually is to you. Okay, now let's bring this right back around to you. Each of you are now faced with two choices. Do you want to quit school? Or do you want to fight through and feel some accomplishments? If you make the growth mindset decision, to fight on, then this begs the question, how can I get back on track when I am stuck? As adults, we keep telling you we feel bad for you and we have sympathy for your struggles that you're going through. However, how often are we giving you ideas as to how to fight through this, and are you listening to them? We can push you all we want, but we can't want it more than you. So let's take some time to go through some suggestions that may work. I don't pretend I have all the answers, but I want to stop complaining and start to become a part of the solution and giving you some suggestions. Here are some thoughts that I, other teachers, and counselors have come up with. And you'll find a link below this YouTube video that lists these out for you, in case you want to refer back to them. All right, tool number one, learn to put your phone aside when you are working on homework. They say your brain needs about 5 minutes to focus on a task. Well, when you're working there and you have your phone next to you and it buzzes, what do? You look at it, or you even text back, whatever it is. But as soon as you look at it, guess what? That 5 minutes starts all over. Try putting your phone in another room while you're trying to work on your homework. The ironic thing is that when your phone is next to you, it has been proven statistically that it'll take you 2 to 3 times longer to do the assignment, and it'll have less quality. So it makes sense to just get rid of the phone. You'll actually save time, and then you can be on the phone guilt-free. You think you can multitask, but you can't. At least not without the quality of your work decreasing. I challenge you to try putting the phone in another room. I promise it will make a difference. If I'm wrong, well then when we get back to school, stop by my room and I'll give you some fruit snacks. However, if I'm right, you owe me fruit snacks or simply an email to say I'm right. Tool number two, take a break from social media and video games. You know when you've had too much. Stop and do something productive. As for Snapchat and Instagram, you think it doesn't affect you, but it most certainly does. If you get the chance, watch the movie called The Social Dilemma, and you'll know exactly what I mean. Let me give you another personal example. It's me and Facebook. I'm on Facebook, but mainly to stay caught up with my friends, my family, see what's going on, and to stay in touch with my past students. I don't post much anymore on Facebook, and I actually don't even use it that often. However, that wasn't always the case. About 5 years ago, I found myself spending a lot of time on Facebook. I would constantly see my friends doing what they were doing and how they were going out for dinner, going on vacation, doing some cool things with their kids. And I found as time was going on, I started to question myself as a husband and as a father. I was comparing myself to others on Facebook. We couldn't afford to go on these really nice vacations. We couldn't afford to go out to eat and out to these really nice restaurants. And I don't know, was I doing these cool things with my family? At least that's what I was wondering. So yes, of course, I started to wonder what was happening. Eventually, I found myself dropping into a little lull, and then it hit me. You need to get off Facebook, Mike. People that are posting things are usually posting things that are fun, right? It's not like they're going to be going around posting, hey, I couldn't afford to go out to dinner tonight. Hey, I got a sliver tonight. Hey, I broke my foot tonight, right? We're not necessarily making those announcements. I eventually decided to make a list of what kind of husband and father I was, and I actually came to the conclusion, you know what? I wasn't that bad. It was then I decided that I had to quit looking at Facebook all the time and comparing myself. Students, whether you know it or not, you're going to fall into the same predicament I was. Be careful. Please have balance. Tool number 3. All right, you need structure. Create a schedule like you are in school. Get up at the same time, go to bed at the same time, go to your Zoom classes at the right times, set your phone to make sure you get to your Zoom classes, have specific times to work on your assignments, take scheduled breaks. When you're working on homework, go to a room where there's less distractions. Work on homework for 45 minutes, take a 10-minute break, go back. Don't procrastinate. That only adds to your stress level if you haven't figured that out already. Tool number 4, go to bed at a good time. You shouldn't be handing in assignments at 3 a.m. That is not a good schedule for your body to be on. Eat healthy and be conscious of good nutrition. Tool number 5, be organized. Create a list of things to do. There is nothing better than crossing things off your list. If you create a list and it feels overwhelming, then break it into categories. I've even gone so far as to mark my assignments as medium, easy, medium, and hard. And then I go through and I do a couple medium assignments. I do an easy assignment, or I do a couple easy assignments, a medium assignment, and then I do a couple more easy. Then I do a hard assignment. I vary it up so it doesn't seem so overwhelming. And I get to cross things off my list. Rule number 6. Make a document that lists all your teachers' office hours. Print it and have it next to you. Include preferred ways of communications. That's Schoology message, email, remind, Zoom. If you have to put too much effort into trying to find a way to contact your teacher, you will not do it. So have it nice and simple, organized right there next to you. Tool number 7. Attend Zoom classes and have your camera on so that you stay engaged. Teachers work hard to create lessons. They deserve the respect of your having your screens on, so we know you're following along, you're engaged, and you're certainly not falling back asleep. Rule number 8, have a whiteboard calendar in your room where you are writing down what needs to be done. It makes it easier and helps you to keep organized. Or, if you want, use a planner. Definitely easier than trying to keep track of all those things in your brain. Tool number 9. If you have a job, go to work. If you don't have a job, go volunteer. It's a nice break, like I talked about earlier, from the stresses of school. However, don't work so much that it adds more stress to an already stressful day. Keep things in perspective and realize that you have your whole life to work. Your education has to be a priority too. Tool number 10, get outside. Oh, for heaven's sakes, get outside, you guys. I'm finding myself coming up with ways to exercise myself. I never realized how much I enjoyed the outdoors until this COVID thing hit. You need to integrate getting fresh air into your day. Go sledding, go skating, do yoga, walking, running, shoot hoops, take the dog for a walk, take your neighbor's dog for a walk, shovel your driveway, shovel your neighbor's driveway. Have you ever tried doing something good for somebody else? Ooh, what a good feeling it is. I don't care what you do, just get up and move around. Every expert will tell you exercise is a necessary thing for our bodies to re-energize and to clear our heads. Tool number 11, here we go. Take some time each day to keep a simple journal. Write something you are grateful for each day. Tool number 12, when it is sunny, take some time to enjoy it. When the sun is blasting through your window, take some time to lay in it. Soak up the rays. It does a body good. Take a little cat nap. Take a lesson from your pets. Why do you think they're in the middle of the winter, they're laying down in the rays of the sun? They're enjoying it. They're getting energy, right? They're taking a nap. Tool number 13. Get together with your friends in a safe way. Whether that is FaceTime, setting up a study groups, having a baking party, or meeting them and going for a walk outside. Maybe even do some door dashing. That's a 2-for-1. Hanging out with your friends and you're making money. Friends and family are so important to all of us. Don't forget to nurture those relationships. These are the same people that will help you get out of those fixed mindsets and when you're struggling, will help guide you. Tool number 14, set goals. Some people are treading water and just going through the motions without direction. Keep your head above water by setting goals. Start with small goals, and as your confidence starts to grow, start building towards those bigger goals. Rule number 15, get a pet and enjoy some pet therapy. They use the concept in hospitals, so why wouldn't it work for you? Tool number 16, be sure to talk to someone when you need to. Look out for each other. Talk to your siblings, talk to your cousins, talk to your friends, your parents, counselors, or your teachers. Bottling things up inside definitely is not the right answer. Tool number 17, and one of the most important. Finally, give yourself a break. I have talked to so many students that are fighting themselves, for lack of better words. They want to work, they're taking care of their siblings, they have chores, they have schoolwork, they have co-curriculars, and the list goes on and on and on. Maybe take some time to reevaluate. Are you giving yourself time for yourself? Is it okay to miss an assignment or miss some points on a test? Yes, it certainly is. You aren't expected to be 100% at everything. Do we want to see you give 100% and put 100% effort in? By all means. But it's okay not to be perfect. Those 17 tools will hopefully help guide you, give you some place to start. I want to conclude by reminding you, key component, you need to believe in yourself. Find ways to have that growth mindset. There will be struggles, but that doesn't mean you can't find the grit to fight through them. And you certainly don't have to struggle alone. You have people around you that care and want what is best for you. You just have to be willing to step out of your comfort zone and ask for help. I'm talking about now as we are in distance learning, but I'm also talking about in the future, as you go on about the rest of your life. I'm hoping this video can help you in some way. I put myself out there, but it is a risk I'm willing to take. If you can take even one thing away from this video, then it was worth it. Please, don't quit. We don't want you to regret the decision that you made. I know distance learning is tough, but if you don't make changes, then it will only get tougher. Take some ownership of your own education. Fight through adversity. Do homework. Go to class. Change that fixed mindset to a growth mindset. Things won't get better until you choose to do something about it. Thank you for watching, and I hope this video gives you some tools to work with. And please, please remember, you are not alone.